What's up guys? So today we're working on the Corolla again. We are replacing the ball joints on the front. Here's the new one. Whoops. Here's the new ball joint. Whenever you change ball joints and you do any suspension or steering work, you will need an alignment done. So what you're going to do first is jack up the car, obviously, and then you want to take the wheel off. Alright, here is our old ball joint that we want to take out. I've already sprayed it with a lot of penetrating fluid, which is why it looks so wet. Bolts here come through that way, and they have a nut on the other side, and then this one here, the one in the middle, is an actual bolt that we want to take out. And then we remove the cotter pin here, and then we undo this, and we hit it out of place, and we take it out, and we put the new one back in, and we're done. Now I've already replaced it on the other side, well, almost, but I'm also working on the other side at the same time, and I found it a lot easier to work if you remove this shield here and the brake caliper. I'm just going to remove it because why not? It's going to make things a lot easier. So just take you don't need a breaker bar, but this is what I happen to have here with a 14mm socket on it. So just take your breaker bar or your 14mm socket. You can even do this with a wrench, they're not that tight. And then just undo the caliper. Alright, once you have the caliper off, you wanna make sure you put it in a safe place where it's not hanging by the brake line so that it doesn't damage the brake line. I just put it on top of the rotor right there. And alright, so those bottom bolts right there and the nuts are all 17mm. So you want your 17mm socket on the breaker bar, and you want to turn the breaker bar away from the car. So you put it on and you turn it that way. Make sure the car is well on the jacks, because it's going to shake a lot when you pull on the breaker bar, because it's honestly not that easy to take those off. Once it breaks loose, you can take a wrench and undo it, because it's gonna go a lot faster. And honestly, this was so difficult. I was putting all of my weight on this breaker bar. So the way I was doing it basically is from here, from the front of the car, I had my weight on this breaker bar like that. It was wobbly, very wobbly. All right, so at this point you can hopefully just take a wrench and undo it. And out it comes. Now let's undo the next one. So for the next one, you want to do the same thing, just put the breaker bar on it and then just keep pushing on it until it breaks loose. But be careful, because the car is going to be very wobbly. There's actually still a significant amount of resistance, even with this breaker bar, when I undo it. And I'm gonna give the wrench a shot. I'm gonna get some gloves on. That should help. Ooh, it's hot. I'm not kidding. It heated up so much from, It heated up so much from being so tight. It's actually hot. Now the last bolt that we have to undo is this one right here, and I'm just going to loosen it up but leave it tightened, because it's going to be a lot easier to undo this top one right here while it's still tight at the bottom. Otherwise it's going to wiggle around and it's going to make it a lot harder. So let's get this one out. Finally. Alright, so to do the top, we are going to need a 19mm wrench this time. It's not a 17. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is we have to take out that cotter pin, which is so rusty. On the other side, I had to break it off. I literally broke it off, and that was it. It just, I touched it, twisted it, and that's it. It came off. So we'll see how it is on this side. Alright, let's see what we have here. Just as I expected, we have an extremely rusty cotter pin. However, this one might be in a better condition than the other one is, so that's a good sign. To remove that cotter pin, what I did is I just took one of these and I hit it until it literally broke off. I don't know if you can tell, but I just hit it until it broke off. Same on this side. It broke off. Actually, on that side I used a pair of pliers and I bent it back and forth until it ripped. Alright, now what you want to do to remove that nut there, you're going to need a 19mm wrench. Alright, so this is when we want to remove this so that we can get the breaker bar through. Yeah, see, that's why I had to remove it on the other side. It's a lot easier without it. And the last one is down here. Look at that. It just broke loose. Very simple. Alright guys, so I had to make a run to the store to get this pickle fork or ball joint separator tool. You're gonna need one of those. And what you use it for is, so basically, I'm on the other side of the car right now just because that one that I was filming for you guys, I accidentally popped out with this while I was trying to use it. So once you take off these two nuts off and the bolt, I know I said to leave it in there, but that was just until we loosened that up. But then you want to take the bolt off, and then what you want to do is take it off of the control arm. So what you do is you push the control arm down while pulling up on this, or just, you know, if you have this you can pry it out. That's what I did. And then what you want to do is you take it and you put it here. I've had more success with it upside down rather than this way. You can try it both ways and see what works for you. Honestly, whichever way works is gonna get you through the job, so it doesn't really matter. And you just put it here, and then you take a hammer. This is what you need. A big hammer. And what you're gonna do with it, well, you just hammer this in. Let me show you. Alright, watch the ball joint to see how it pops out. Alright, so what you want to do next is just undo that, and this will fall out. There you go. That's your old ball joint. And then you want to take your new one and compare it, obviously, to make sure it's the same. So here we have our new one and our old one. They look the same, so we can go ahead and install them. These, by the way, are already greased up. They don't have a hole to put the grease in, so put it in here. Try and squeeze your hands in there to get the bolt on, and then after you do that comes the battle of getting it back onto the lower control arm. now that it's tight, make sure it's on there well, because this, as you're tightening this nut, it actually pulls it up. So you want to make sure it's on there tight. And now we're going to try and put it onto the control arm. There we go. So what you're going to do is push. I put my whole weight on this. I just push really hard on it and push it down, and then this will slide into place by itself. There we go. It's in. So all we have to do now is tighten the bolts and put the nuts on. There is, actually the new one did come with new nuts and bolts and a cotter pin, so we will use those. Alright, so what we want to do now is we take our new nuts and bolts that it came with, and we put them all in. We'll start. We'll start with the nuts, which these are now 19 millimeters. This one here, yep, this one here is a 16. So let's tighten the nuts down, and then we'll tighten the bolt. Oh, I guess it should be an 18. Yeah, that fits much better. Alright, just make them snug. Memories die out too hard. But we were drowned in the mountains just to find the loudest seas. Now, this one should go in with ease. Okay, I guess this one's a 50. I'm just gonna pick a torque setting that I think is appropriate. So I'm gonna go to 50, I'll say. 50 foot-pounds. That seems good enough. I'll just check the other two as well while I'm at it. Okay, those seem to be a lot tighter. All we have to do now is tighten this one, and then we're done. Alright, and to tighten it, we use the same trick that we used to loosen it, which is wrench, breaker bar. And don't forget to align it so that the cotter pin can go in. Alright, now let's align it, and there we go. Perfect. Put the cotter pin in, twist it, and then we're done. Alright, you put it in, take the needle nose and bend it on the other side.
I've been laying under palm trees waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I don't ever want to leave, I'm in a tropic club.
And there you have it. You're done. You have successfully installed the lower ball joint on the Corolla. One more thing, we need to put the brake caliper back, and all you do is you reverse the process that you took to uninstall it. After you've put the caliper back, you tighten it, and then you take the wheel, put it back on, you put the lug nuts back on. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it was helpful.